So the next thing that you need to do, or that you at least has worked for me, again, just a reminder, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, but I am somebody who's survived and battled these mental health conditions as well as my weight for the last 21 years. So my next suggestion will be avoid eating, especially in large quantities, refined sugar or highly processed foods. These foods are designed to trigger appetite. They're a really good high, whether you're talking Little Debbie's or Twinkies or whatever. They're a quick high, but you'll be famished a short time afterwards, and you'll gain weight unbelievably fast eating this type of stuff. So we wanna watch our processed sugars if we can. Again, that's going to lead into my next point, and I think this is the most important thing, and it's why, at least for a few years now, I've been able to control my weight pretty well, and I was finally able to do this. But it's learn to compartmentalize your bad days. So for a long time, I'm sure like a lot of you out there, you have a bad day, especially if you have anxiety, panic disorder, depression. You have a bad day eating and you just throw in the towel. People with OCD are notorious for this, right? If you don't do something exactly the way you have it in your mind, which includes eating, then it's just like, heck with it. And for a long time, I really struggled. I might lose 15 or 20 pounds, maybe more than that, but then you have a bad day, and you know how it goes. If you have a family, or you're going places and doing things, social occasions, everything in this society is based around food, everything. So you might be doing well up till a certain point, and then you have a weekend where you have two different outings, two different gatherings. You end up eating terribly, and then you're off the wagon, and so then you end up putting on weight again and just saying, I can't do it. And what I've learned is to compartmentalize my bad days. In fact, I build them in to my diet now. And I'm not going to suggest what diet you guys should use, because for some people, Mediterranean works well. For some people, low carb works well. For me, that's the one that works well. But I don't pretend that that's the one for everyone. I know how much people love their bread and their pasta, and you can still have bread and pasta and maintain a wonderful physique. So I would never claim that wouldn't be possible to do. But so what I do is I have either once a week or once every 2 weeks, I'll have a cheat day. And on my cheat day, I enjoy myself. If there's something I've been craving, I get it. I have it. I don't hold back. I don't hold back in what I get, and I don't hold back in the quantity of food I eat. But after that day's over, then I'm able to go back to eating, a lower carbohydrate diet. To me, this has been a revelation for me, because I don't think it's realistic for anybody, at least not if you've A, love food the way I love food, and B, have an emotional connection with it, to just say, I'm going to eat this way forever. I think that just as soon as, in fact, it reminded me of an article I read one time where the guy said, he talked about how our minds work. And he said, he was going to start a diet. And even while he was still in the grocery store throwing the good stuff in the cart, he started getting that terrible feeling. Like, I'm going to be depriving myself. And I think when we start doing that I think it's a losing battle. I don't care if it works in the short term. It's not sustainable. So if you love food like I do, you have to learn to compartmentalize. I think that when you have an occasion, you have a special occasion, enjoy it. You know, live it up. Have a day. Have a day. Or maybe it's a weekend. Maybe it's a whole weekend. Maybe it's a vacation even. But once it's over, it's got to be over. It's not over forever. They're not going to stop making the food that you like. It's going to be there. But learning to compartmentalize, while dieting and while coming off a diet for a day or two or a week has been extremely important in me being able to maintain a much healthier weight. Now, other than those things, getting your mental health treated, avoiding, highly processed food and refined sugar, and learning to compartmentalize, then it just comes down to the other. Normally it would be three things, but since we've already talked about diet, since that's what this video has been primarily about, make sure you get your sleep. You'll notice if you don't get sleep, and especially if you have anxiety or panic disorder or any of these mental health conditions that are on the anxiety spectrum, OCD, you'll notice that when you don't sleep, your impulse control goes out the window. This is something I've always noticed. If I don't get sleep, I have very little self-control with my eating, and it's a bad combination. So make sure you get on a decent sleep schedule, and not just how long you sleep, but your quality of sleep. I find, fitness trackers actually can keep pretty good track of that now, believe it or not, and you don't have to break the bank, but you can see if you're actually getting into a deep sleep, how much quality sleep you're getting just with a fairly inexpensive fitness tracker. And that's essential with people who have our mental health conditions. It's so important. And then get your exercise. You'll get some of the same chemicals that get released when we're eating a great big donut or whatever it might be that's not good for us. You can also get a very similar feeling from exercise. Now, not all the time, and if we're clinically depressed, that's going to be a lot less likely, but exercise does release neurotransmitters that make us feel good. And the awesome thing about exercise is afterwards we don't get fat, we don't have the shame, we don't feel terrible about ourselves. Instead, it builds our self-esteem, right? So this is pretty much the video I wanted to make. I just wanted to touch on this because it's been, again, along with these mental health conditions, my weight has been a battle. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who uses food to self-medicate and try to cope with these things. So I figured I'd make a video about that. I just wanted to thank everybody who's, commented, liked, subscribed, shared. I'm really grateful for the response the channel has gotten so far. And thank you guys so much. I'll probably do some more in-depth videos that have to do with emotional eating in the future. But thank you so much, and until my next video, take care.